Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Buy Round Interview Show. Today we are joined by one of Britain's finest front rowers in Stuart Fielden. Stuart, thanks for joining us here on a bit of a holiday.
Yeah, quite a big holiday, sort of 4 or 5 weeks. So unfortunately I brought the English weather with me and it's freezing.
Yes, you sure have. Well, we've brought someone with us as well.
How do you do this, Jimmy?
Yeah,
He's the best.
Yeah. Just stir the pot, get
mate.
things going. Mate, to be honest, I get nervous doing the interview shows, but obviously two of the big alphas.
Yeah, mate.
Obviously a point in history with the Ashes coming up, Stu being here.
Yeah.
Sort of a set the record straight. So look, this incident happened in 2006 before we press play, 19 years ago. Great, just first off, great to see you both come into the studio today and just talking like normal blokes. Stuff happens on the field, stays on the field, and we're going to talk about the ramifications of that. But can I just talk to you both about the build-up here before this game? It was a time in rugby league when
it was fucking free-for-all.
It was a bit of a free-for-all. I mean, when we see what happens and we see the punishments, I mean, there's nothing done. It's just a big 6-a-game play on before 6-a-game was a thing. Stuart, I want to ask you about the POM coming over, the English. I know what that tag is like and that target. Did you sense that this was about to erupt?
Not particularly. I mean, I think if this is the first bit, is it? It's only the second minute in it.
Yeah.
Second minute in a test. So, it's a big game, big test. You're in Sydney. It's massive. You've had a lot of build up, and as usual, you get it. So in England, when you guys come over, you don't get the hostile media.
No,
we got it. We get the hostile media. They do all sorts of sneaky tricks.
So were they
the headlines
sort of pressing you? Because you were the obviously you had some good competition there, but you were arguably Super League's best front rower, and Willie, you're the NRL's best front rower as well. So Stu, are you getting prompted by the media and getting maybe misquoted in the newspapers or on TV in the build-up?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, so I can remember one of them because in fact I'd done like a almost faultless piece because if you give them, you know what journos are like, Willie knows what they're like, you know what they're like. They will cop and they will cut and change it, but if you don't allow them to, you don't give them that room, it was a perfect piece. And so literally they couldn't find anything in it to blow out of proportion or whatever. So literally I'd put, you bash them, we bash them and you get bashed, which is bang on.
Yeah.
And that was the title. But they put,
we'll bash
them.
Yeah.
And I was like,
they've already got the headline. They've already got the headline. All they need is, because of that era, right? We were like, Australia and England, we had some fucking good tests. It goes back from 02, 3, 4, 5. That's 6, right? That's 4 or 5 years in the making. Like Stuart and me, and we're going hard against each other. It was fair, and it was just fair play. It wasn't really. Everybody looks at this shit, you know what I mean? They go think it was just, it was wild times. Because after that, remember I got Longy with an elbow, which I didn't really mind.
I've got to say, that was way worse than that.
And I was like,
should have been sent off.
100%, 100%, because I look at that and then the vernacular from the ref, you can hear him, he goes, Lockie, tell him to settle down. And that was it. So I walk back and say, fuck off, Lockie. We run back and then I legit tried to put kick pressure on Longy and elbowed him straight. We've talked about this before, but straight across there. And he goes, if you do that again, I'm going to send you for 10. And then I sort of went, okay, I think I pushed it too far here.
Mate, we need to clip that up versus the penalty on Nathan Cleary.
And then you get a couple of penalties these days and it's just like,
I mean, but yours one there, these days you'd get 20, 30 games,
12 weeks,
because you didn't even have the ball, but you ran through like that and literally took him out, split him there, and you didn't even have the ball.
No, I didn't have the ball.
It was like, I was looking when I watched it after going,
how did he get missing something here?
He was as tough as they come.
I love Longy. And when I was at Hull and he was at FC, right? So he was hanging out with Fitzy and Ogre and all that. We used to have beers all the time. As the first time I saw him since then, I said, Longy, I just want to say sorry, mate. I said I didn't mean to get you that legit. I actually just tried. I don't know. It was a bit wild, but that was good.
Was it an Aussie ref? I think it was an Aussie ref.
That's Klein. That's Klein, the one who's fucking the game up now.
He was Super League at the time. Geez, how the times have changed. Willie, from your perspective, I know you'd been over and played against England. I think there'd been a couple of one-off tests maybe, perhaps, but with it was the Tri Nations at the time. So I think you Aussies,
4 Nations,
GB, Kiwis in there. Did you take this as a personal battle to take it to the English pack? Because they had Fielden, they had Peacock, Morley at the time, Gazellis.
They had one of the best packs. They did. Obviously, you over there and Peacock and like that, big and physical. There was never ever a time, I reckon, where the Pommies or the Kiwis feared our forwards. It was like, you fear our backs. You fear the halves. You fear a Joey. You fear a Trent Barrett. You fear a Gaznia, a Lottie, a Wendell, Lockie. You fear those guys to put points. Greg Inglis, all these sort of blokes. Forward pack is very evenly matched. You know what I mean? So it's just like you got to win that ascendancy in the middle, and then that was our job. Try and get ascendancy in the middle. And then just go, look at our backs. They can score tries from anywhere. And that was it. And I was one of the leaders of that pack. You got Mark O'Mealy there. You got Luke O'Donnell. Some high masters, Petro. And versus their pack, it's quite evenly matched.
Yeah.
Other than probably our 9 was always pretty like a Danny Badiris or a Cam Smith. But they always had a good 9. But the props, and they were proper tests. I'll put them up there with some origins that I've played.
Usually when things like this happen, they've been simmering away during the game for quite some time. Now, the fact that this happened in pretty much the opening exchanges, did you both feel, Stu, did you feel like that simmering? Because I think you get up and you look ready to go.
Yeah, we're both crazy.
You look ready to.
It was both crazy times, right? We're both talking shit, right? We're both talking of like, fuck, he's like, let's fucking go when we get up. Let's just fucking go, whatever. Bang, and I just got in first. That's it.
It's
That's an instinct. There was nothing in it, but just like I got in first, and that was the name of the fucking game back then. Like you get up, you shake hands. Fuck you throw. If he had to hit me, I would have been the same thing. You know what I mean? But I just got in first.
Stu, what did you make of that maybe second or third carry of a test match? We know that things have been hyped up. It's obviously there's no simmer. It's straight to boiling point. What are you thinking when you first step up?
Gonna be totally honest with you, I can't remember. This is the honest truth. So my mum had just died before I went out on the tour.
Sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, it's not your fault. Probably I shouldn't have gone. But Chris Brooks then had to tell me again in the dressing rooms that my mum had died.
Fucking hell.
So that's how that's
sorry,
just,
mate.
Yeah, it's not, that epitomises, I suppose, you asking me questions about memory because I can only remember in the change rooms of Doc and I was really. Chris, but you know Chris.
And Brooksy well.
CEO Wigan now, but the GB Doc is ace. He's been my GB Doc since I was 17.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. And obviously he had to tell me again, and obviously you've got the same response of when I first found out that she died, because I literally didn't know.
Wow.
I didn't know that, mate.
You know what? That just goes to show about, obviously, people are, a lot of focus on this incident, but people are just human beings. Like footballers are human beings and they've got like shit going on like everybody else.
I mean, I've been stood with Nobby, Carl Jennings, I think, and just got Brooksy and Nobby and saying in the Pacific Hotel, just saying, I want to go home.
Yeah.
This was before the game. I can remember saying, Nobby, I need to go home, mate. I'm not in the right place here. I can remember running on the trying ground before the game and I was in tears. I didn't feel I knew why at the time. Obviously, you get, but I didn't feel that. But I was, and I said to Nobby, and he was like, he said, "Oh no, can you just stay?" And I was like, "I don't want to stay." And they kind of convinced me to stay.
Yeah.
And he's going to touch on there is that you don't want to come on tour with your country and then go home. You're like, listen, I'll rather die.
Fucking oath, yeah.
And so I decided to stay, which probably wasn't the best.
Yeah.
So just to refresh our memories and our listeners' memories, you didn't come back on, did you?
No, I went off at, I think, 37. So after this...
Well, hang on a minute.
I went off... I got knocked out and I played another 35 minutes. I don't think I went off till 37.
No, that's what's...
I was looking back recently. I was thinking,
compared to the rules now, how they're getting looked after. Like even when in the same Test series, like with Kidwell when he got me, Kidwell got me. That was in the first 20 minutes. I didn't go back on until 20 minutes to go. So they gave me the whole time. So 20 minutes, then half time, 45, 50, 60 minutes. And then I snapped in and went, oh, fuck. Then you get all those words.
Yeah.
You know, they give you all those words to repeat.
Yeah.
I went, oh, done. Like usually, I'm back. And I said, get me back on. So it's fucking totally different rules back then.
It is. I mean, I guess this will go down in a bit of folklore. And obviously, been pretty pleasant here today, and I think you've.
I'm just glad. Seriously, I'm glad. I've never really met Stewie. You know what I mean? Like, and I heard he's a good bloke and everything like that. And what stays on the field, you know what I'm like. If it happens on the field, me and you had run-ins on the field. Yeah, if it's happening on the field, it just stays on the field. Do you know what I mean?
I remember you flew out the line once. Yeah, with Newcastle.
It was fun. That was the fucking fun playground for us. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the way it is. Yeah. We and I'm glad that you've come here and you can sit down and like grown men. You know, you're a father, I'm a father, and we're grown men. That's just fucking just a part of history. You know what I mean?
No, it is, and I think after it, you were like, oh, you didn't shake my hand, and that was disrespectful and all that.
Yeah, and
the honest bit is. I don't think I shook anybody's hand. I think I was literally in Nala land.
Yeah, because I was actually looking for you. That's what I thought. I said, you fucking rude prick. I was looking at it because Peacock and I shook hands. I didn't.
So, but you didn't know that. I get that.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
Honestly, even if I'd have lost or played the best or won whatever, I would never. I'd always shake someone's hand no matter what.
Okay, yeah.
Stu, obviously you got in touch with us. You said that there was, and I know things have been pleasant, and maybe after it, was there an offer for a boxing match?
Yeah, I spoke to your.
There might be sure in 2010.
No, way after. Oh, Greg Keenan, he was called your agent.
Yeah, but we
spoke to him
when I was at the Catalans, or was it like the 2011?
You'd finished.
Oh yeah, fuck.
I thought
it was in 2010.
Nah, because you were playing, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think it was years after, and we spoke to him, and we said about because my best mate, he knew someone who had basically Leeds as a stadium called Gaisley, quite a big one, and he knew someone that kind of. Either was something to do with that, and he said, "Oh, we can put on this gig on." And my best mate, he was a boxing pro, as well as boxing pro coach, all this kind of stuff. So he knew a lot of people in it, and he was like, "We can sell this event out. Well, I've obviously will be the main event, but I've all the undercards because I know you've done quite a bit since, and all this kind of stuff." And we would have been able to sell it out.
That, and I was just like, I think Keno goes, "It's not enough money," and I said, "Oh, well, fuck it then." Because I think I was at their never careers. I was like, what have I got to prove here? You know what I mean? Like,
it was 20 grand. So
20 grand? No, but if we fucking fight here, if I've had fights over here, they're like easily like nearly six figures.
Yeah, but I mean, that's I get that. But I mean, just this was...
At that time, at that time, I was just like, fucking 20 grand, I couldn't care. I was like, especially when it was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it.
I get it. I suppose we just try it off. I mean, we were trying to get it on, but you didn't want to do it for whatever.
It was just, I just didn't fucking, I probably didn't feel it, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't hate you enough. I was thinking, if it was like 2010 and like I really like had a problem with you, I was just like, I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
I'm sort of one of those blokes that if it happens on the field, it stays on the field.
You didn't want to do all the training again, did you?
It's a fucking hard, it's a training, it's a lot of shit. I've had about 4 fights, just like, it's a commitment, and I probably wasn't ready for that commitment. I'm like, fuck, just leave it. It just wasn't like a big priority in my life, obviously. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have fucking fought you. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm sitting here like Mike Tyson's calling me out. I'm like, fuck that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's just a legit fight. It would have been exhibition fight.
Exhibition pretty
yeah,
easy.
That's what I mean. It wasn't like, oh shit, I'm shitting myself. It's just like, fuck, I just couldn't be bothered.
Like you said, I just thought, well, he's clearly got better stuff on elsewhere. Because the honest bit is, if there's that amount of money that was right, you'd be like, I'm going to do it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. If it had done run, it would have been 100 grand. I would have fucking, let's go. 6 minutes and we'll go hard.
Let's start, get that petition going. let's have a bit of a
whip.
Let's get a whip round. Let's get a GoFundMe page going. If we can get 200 G's, 100 each.
Because everybody would have thought we'd fucking sitting here and trying to fight each other. It's like, fuck it, that'd be stupid. We're 45 years old. Imagine trying to have like beef at like, something that happened 19 years ago. I'm glad that we can sit here like grown men, have a laugh about it and just fucking shake hands and that's it. Get along with life.
It's a great thing about our sport that there's a level of maturity.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was interesting hearing Paul Gallen speak about him and Nate Miles, right?
Yeah.
And how he looks now and he goes, I wish I never did it.
Yeah.
Or words to that effect, or I wish that event didn't happen because it's used in a lot of Origin promotion, even though the game has changed and this is, is an illegal act. It's now, it would have been, the ramifications would have been a category 1. You wouldn't have played for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
You would have been
fine,
for
vilified.
Yes.
I see it from that point of view too. When I look at that, and that could have been me if Stu got in first. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just got in first.
It's almost like McGregor v. Alder.
I didn't realise it was going to happen that quick. Do you know what I mean? And neither did Stu. And I'm just like, and it sucks that it's fucking on the internet like every day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's on TikTok and shit. You know what I mean? But I'm glad we can sit here as grown men, as fathers, and have a mature sort of look at it. You know, because I've never met you, Stu, and I was thinking, fuck, imagine if he fucking flips tables and tries to fight me. I've got to fucking bring my gloves. But, like I was speaking to Jimmy because I said, do you know Stu? He goes, no, I don't know him. I said, oh, well, fucking see what happens then. But I'm glad.
I was wondering where I was going to sit. I was like, where could this go? But
no, I'm glad.
It was a little bit like the McGregor Aldo, first in, best
you
dressed.
Just don't know.
Just over it in a flash. Is it, with the Ashes around the corner, does it annoy you? Does it frustrate you that this is going to be used in the build up to almost help sell tickets?
You know what they should do? If
they
don't condone violence and hitting and everything, they shouldn't use that. Do you know what I mean?
Technically.
They shouldn't be using that because parents and everything, they don't use shoulder charges because you're not allowed to shoulder charge anymore and you can't fight. But they always put they shouldn't be able to use it.
They put Sonny Bill's.
Mm-hmm. And the one that he got Joel Clinton with, they use that like and that's an illegal tackle.
Yeah,
that's an illegal hit. You know what I mean? Like, so they shouldn't be promoting the game if they stand on what they believe in. Like you can't fight anymore and you can't shoulder charge.
And then there's a bit of a ruckus after when JP comes in. It's the full on
almost
brawl.
All-in brawl. So you're trying to entice a fucking all-in brawl.
Yeah. But you know what? It sells.
It fucking does sell.
And you can't ignore the fact that, look, our game is many things.
Yeah.
To many people, it's a game of skill, it's a game of endurance,
but it's a
game of tactics, it's a game of will, it's a game of endurance, but it's physical, and at times, and especially back then, it resulted in that, and these things do ultimately sell.
Yeah, I understand that, but like if they did actually believe in what they were trying to sell, they wouldn't be using it. But they wouldn't care, and it depends if they're going to sell it over in England, right? That's the ones they should. That's
where the audience is going to be lead to yourself and obviously then JP coming in and obviously he's very high stature in
they'll pump it up because I think the Ashes, we were talking about the Ashes before, Stu, like they were three of the hardest games I've nearly ever played in. I think you were young too, about 23, 24.
Yeah,
and like we were playing and there was a chance there we could have got beaten 3-0. I think because it all happened in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Like Rico scored or something from Lockie, some brilliance. But we're getting beaten, getting bashed. Remember, Bobby Kearns got fucking launched by Moz with the elbow.
First test,
8 seconds,
and so we were all those three tests.
Nearly had us.
We war winning still within 8 minutes to go. All 3 tests, and in that one there, Moz got sent off.
Yeah.
So to be just that far close to winning with a man sent off against the best team in the world.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
That's why I reckon. Do you reckon out of all the teams that you've played in the 2003 tour, the 2003 team was like one of the best teams you played in? Because Andy Farrell and that was in that team,
I mean, you just look at some of them compared to sort of the modern day teams now, and you look and go like Farrell, Sculthorpe.
That's what I'm saying. And you could have easily beaten us, but you could have got us
Ellis,
easy.
You had some absolute class players. Keith Senior on one centre.
Yeah, Keith Gleeson, Martin Gleeson.
The 2 centres that used to terrorise the Aussies were
big
those 2.
Fuckers.
Yeah. Big Keith.
Big Keithy. I love Big Keith.
Corned beef Keith. And then he obviously had Gleeson on that side. And you were terrified of them too.
Yeah, mate. He was on fire.
They just could rip you up.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
What do you reckon you boys to go this year?
The matchup.
Come on.
Well, I think if England have their best 17, they can mix it.
Yeah.
Again, look, and it's probably going to depend if Tino and Haas play.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm looking at it and going, Australia through the middle, like the next cabs off the rank are not at that same level.
Lindsay Collins and a Ruben Cotter maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be your next guys up.
Don't get me wrong, they are great players, but they're not at that.
Not Tino.
They are in the top 3 front rows, and the third is Joey Tarpany.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree.
And I think that if those 2 play, they're going to be very difficult to handle. But being in England, all the things that come with it.
Playing at Wembley, like, will that sell out, you reckon?
Well,
like, I know it ain't going to get 110, but will we get 60? Will we get 70?
Well, again, this is where the promotion...
They need to fucking pump it up, man.
Well, Everton, I think it's Hill Dickinson Stadium is sold out.
I think that'll sell out.
Headingley is obviously sold out.
Yeah.
And then it's on Wembley now for the fans to get down to Wembley. And it's history. It's been way too long.
Because I think if just say we get 70 or 80 to Wembley, everyone will be fucking going, yeah, the Ashes is back.
Yeah.
Then they will stack the North. The North just turn up anyway.
Well, they're already sold out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Wembley's
them,
110. If they have 50, it looks small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they can get 80 or 90 and then Great Britain win the first one, then it's on, I reckon.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Stu, Willie was talking there about those great contests. Does it piss you off that this is what people talk about? And again, it sells. But the fact that they were those test matches that were all out wars. Great Britain went on to win this game. It's the last time Great Britain beat Australia. I remember the scenes, Roby and Leon and all those, and Gilly, all those boys celebrating. Like it was a special day for Great Britain.
I got rode a lot with this for a long time. I know you were peed off when you came over to Hull because people they seem obsessed with it, didn't they?
Obsessed.
So can you imagine? In NRL, you didn't get that. Whereas I got it literally for about 6 years.
Yeah.
So I must have seen in these clips. So, but my point to every time then is going, wait, and I went, firstly, I'd take that right now. We won the test. Yeah. I said, if you knock me out right now,
no one even fucking thinks about that, do they?
I'll take it. Yeah. And I said, and then I was also involved, I've 100% World Cup challenges against the Aussies. And I was involved in the last 3 wins of any British or English team against the Aussies. Yeah. 2006, 2004, 2001. I said, all three.
Yeah. Well, 4 and 4, you got to set up Man City. Remember?
No, we lost. We lost.
Was that it?
Yeah, we got battered in the final by you.
No. But like during the pool rounds. Remember you got us at Man City?
Yeah, 04. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So 04, 06, and 01. Last 3 wins for Great Britain against Australia.
Did you ever beat Australia, Jimmy?
No, didn't. Came within Ryan Hall's no try, which was a try because physics tells you to try, but it was the
physics. We can't go down to physics, Jimmy.
Downward pressure is downward pressure, whether it's your hand or your finger. And then the World Cup final in 2017, which still haunts the 6-0. Like it was.
That was a good final. That was brutal.
Like it was brutal.
Yeah.
And when I
think played against some good fucking Aussie sides. So did you, Stu.
So also that final, when it's the end of it's the end of a long season, and a 6-0 just all out slugfest in Brisbane as well, where it was pretty warm.
Does it take it out of you guys when you come over here, right, to play in a like a Four Nations or anything like that, or we play you guys like we went there for 3 years in a row, 3, 4, 5. You feel more comfortable in England? With the weather, is inclement sort of weather. There's a lot of shit going on.
It depends on the group.
Different styles, different grounds. There's always
depends on the group, Willie. I think the conditions back home do favour the English lads, just because it's a little bit different for the Aussies that come over. But with a good team and with good lads, I prefer coming here because you're living with each other. But you come with the maybe a split side, which did happen on a couple of occasions. Yeah. It was no fun.
Like if we go to England, we always used to have a lot of fun, right? Do you have fun here when you come here? You all like just bond together?
When we can.
Yeah. Probably
when
not.
You can. It's not like when we were in Leeds, like a bunch of lunatics in 2002.
I've heard some of the stories, and that didn't happen.
It was wild, mate. And then we end up winning. Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Good times anyway.
You know what, Willie? You've got to get yourself to Belmore. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been great to see you. And it's great to see you both.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Thanks for coming on, Willie. All right, well, Stu, you've, I guess, made a bit of peace, bit of closure.
Yeah, I mean, Willie touched on it as well. There was never that, and I think it was everybody else.
Yeah.
I think certainly what I saw when he came over to Hull, he was kind of not blown away, but I think really annoyed. It was a big thing, such a big thing in the UK. And when you touched on it and you said, but we've got the clip there, haven't we? You were saying, oh, you've seen it. I was thinking, yeah, I've seen it literally thousands of times because people just kind of kick the backside out of it.
Yeah.
And that's all that is synonymous with it. And as I touched on then, it's like, well, firstly, I'd take that again every single day of the week. Look, someone came to you, as I know you enough, and I'm pretty sure you'll say the same, and that is, someone came to you and said, right, you're going to get knocked out, you're going to play another 35 minutes, but you win the test. You're taking that. You're going to go every day.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Of course you would. It is, nearly 20 years, 19 years ago, just how far the game has come. And for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, look, not perfect, but the fact that, because when you said you were in the dressing room, I thought, oh, did you go straight off? But no, you're allowed to play on, like, which is...
Played on to, I mean, I just was looking at a little bit of it recently, and I was thinking, how have I even managed to stay on there? Because I've not watched it again fully. I've just seen bits, and I was thinking to myself, well, surely because as I said to you, and I can't remember, and you know, I had to be told about Mum's death and things like that. So clearly, I was concussed, knocked out, but I was clearly functioning enough because I was left on for another 35 minutes. So I clearly can't have been flopping about because they'd have took me off.
Yeah.
So I must have been somehow functioning in some capacity.
Well, it's crazy how your body just knows what to do. Even and maybe at the time your memory was fine, but I mean, it just for the good of the individual, the good of the person, the good of their future, they're not allowed to do that now. But it was a different time, and the culture was different because because that environment wasn't there. Like now we accept it as part of the game, but it wasn't. If you'd have come off there, that would have been seen as maybe a bit of weakness or a bit of a loss. But the fact that like your autopilot is, I'm in this environment where I've got to continue.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's all about context and relativity, innit? Of saying, so it's easy saying, well, as you said, the standards and all that now, and all the things in place that weren't in place then. So it's like the game, you kind of are running off different rules. You had a lot more, if you look at the State of Origin, you used to have a fight every time in that. And it for honest, everyone loved it for that reason. Yeah. Obviously, you don't get that now. You know, the game has changed and for various reasons. And so applying the same rules for now back then, as you said there, well, it was different. The rules were different. Yeah. We did have some of the head sport and cog sport stuff and all the rest of it, but it just wasn't as stringent and it wasn't as much on that side of the game.
Yeah.
And so it is a bit unfair, I think, on the medical team or whoever, or whoever's looking at the game to say, well, those rules from now.
Yeah,
but they weren't in place, were they?
Yeah, you can't. It's difficult to judge the past through the lens of the present. Speaking of you coming over here, your success at Clubland in World Club Challenges, your success against the Aussies and getting a few victories. The question that I think a lot of people would like to know the answer to is why not? Why did Stuart Fielden not come and play in the NRL? Whether that is to test yourself, to make yourself a better player, to experience a different walk of life. Like, why did Stuart Fielden not make it to the NRL?
There was a couple of points where, I mean, I was on the way almost. So certainly earlier days, you got to remember now. So the money is relative, and so the money now in NRL is just ridiculous compared to what it used to be. Our salary cap in the UK is 2.1 million. Back then when I was playing, it was 1.85. Now in Australia, I think the 14 million, again, depending on your exchange rate, you're roughly 7 million quid. So you've got literally 3.5 times more to spend, and that's not including the incentives of playing what is one of the biggest games in the country and the obviously sponsorships, things like that. I mean, the stuff across in Australia now, it's just another level compared to what it sort of used to be back then. So money was quite relative, but at various points, so I was kind of we had kind of spot talks with Roosters about swapping with Moz at points, and we were looking at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
with Nick Politis?
Yes. I met him when he came, and his team sort of came not team, but the gentleman who they were with over at the hotel in Manchester, and we were speaking about how can we get this kind of on. They wanted to get me and Moz both at the Roosters, obviously, but that was going to be problematic considering we were, at that point I think we were rated the 2 top props. Maybe with Webke as well. Yeah. So it's like, how are you going to do that? So then it was maybe looking at swapping with Moz, this and that, and then it just kind of filtered out a little bit. Later down the line, I was coming on the way just before you went to Bulldogs. So a little bit before that, I'd agreed with Wigan because I've been in the Super League a long time. I've won everything, and I spoke to Ian Lenigan, and I just said to him, "Listen, I was injured at the time. I said, but can I get permission to sort of to leave my contract early?" And he gave it me, and he said, "Yeah, you can go." And so we basically agreed, and we were in process with Frank Endicott, who was my agent over here, of agreeing a deal with Bulldogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, like 2010?
2011.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. So I was back from the knee, all the rest of it. We'd sorted all this, and we pretty much were not far off agreeing something with them. And then went in the gym and ruptured my pec. Literally. I was back coming back home for Wigan. I'd agreed that I could leave. I'd agreed. My knee was sweet. Yeah. I was probably the biggest and strongest I've ever been because I'd literally, with the knees, I'd had about 3 off seasons almost back to back because, not off seasons, I mean the time of off seasons, just because of the injuries. So I was fit as, I was all the rest of it. And then literally went in on the Tuesday. Madge Maguire had said, "Oh yeah, you're in." And he was keen as to get me back. Went into the gym, warmed up, 3rd set, sat down, and I was massive at the time and strong. So at the point my best bench was at 185 because we're doing German volume with Mark Bitcombe for 6 months. I was big, but I was I'd have been all right with it. And literally 3rd set, I was warm, ruptured my pec.
And that was it.
So I literally, I can remember Andy Coakley was above me, and I only had, and this is the craziest of me thinking back, and that is, I can remember it's 3rd set, so you're warm, so it's it's clearly not something like that. I've clearly got too strong, and I've literally gone 1, 2, and I heard, I didn't feel any pain, so it was my right arm actually. And I thought, I've torn my shirt. And you know about training gear, and you don't want to lose your training gear, do you? So I'm like, oh no. And then I'm thinking, why is my arm not working? And then Andy Coley's above me. And I said, Andy, check it off me. Because when you're lying back on the bench press. And I'm like that. And he's going, yeah. Because for me, that wasn't a massive amount. My best was 185. I was on the 3rd set of 150. So at that point, he's thinking, yeah. I went, no. I said, Coles, check it off me.
Yeah.
So he took it off me, racked it. I literally sat up, and this is at Wigan Gym, sat up like that, and I just thought, and poor the physio was it, Becky Hodgkiss, she was great, but so she's sick of the sight of me, thought she got rid of me, and then I've literally walked in, and obviously my world's come crashing down at that point because it's your 3rd time, you're back, all the rest of it, and literally I sat down, Becky there, and Becky's there looking, and and Becky looked at me, I bet she was thinking, oh, he's just back in for whatever. Because I was in and out quite a lot, and I just looked at just sat there like that, and I looked at Becky, and I went, Becky, I ruptured my pec. She went, yeah. Thought I was joking. I went, no. I ruptured my pec.
Yeah.
And then literally, because with the pec, it starts to, because obviously where it comes into the top of arm there, the ligaments there, the longer you leave ligaments, if it gets past a week or so, you're not going to be able to reattach them.
Yeah.
They turn to mush. So literally we were under the pump a little bit, and then she did the tests and all the rest, and we were like, think so. And Madge obviously was like he was great with Madge, and obviously he could feel for me. Sent me straight to Liverpool for a scan. MRI.
Confirmed the worst.
Ruptured, unfortunately. And so I was in for it reattaching within about a week and a half. So Wigan were great. and all the rest of it. But to be fair, that's one of the ones which actually usually ends careers. Because if you can't reattach there, it goes to mush, and then obviously you've lost literally all that, because obviously your pec kind of does, that's what it does. So to play again without your pec, you're not going to be able to do. But that ironically really was actually one of the worst injuries, but it didn't, you know, Becky, the physio at Wigan, was brilliant. We flew through it 7 months, I think, maybe 8 months before getting back to full activity.
Yeah. What about when you were leaving Bradford Bulls? I can recall that time, Wigan in all sorts. I was happy as a Saints player and a Saints fan. I remember we got that win, that 75-0 one. I can't remember if you played in that. I think you might have been cup tied, bizarrely enough, because that was, it was 05, so before you got there, I think you were still at Bradford.
I was 06.
The time there though, maybe, you know, if when I look back at your career and think about who you were as a player in 06, this is around the time of that infamous situation with Willie. For me, as an outsider looking in, that's when you go, that's when you should go. When Bradford are clearing the decks, Wigan come in with a bid, but was there no temptation at that stage to come over to the NRL?
It wasn't possible. The honest bit is, I got a lot of stick for Bradford for years after, and then kind of won back some of their loyalty a little bit with some of the things I did for the club. But I'd spoken, so it wasn't like a shock. I'd spoken to Nobby for a few years, and I'd said to him, Nobby, I feel a bit stale. I need a new challenge, kind of thing. And I'd said this to him for like 2-3 years. So he knew kind of where I was at with it, and I was thinking, I was speaking to my agent and stuff. I was honest with Nobby and just saying, I kind of feel a bit, and his exact words, and I can remember, and I can't really remember that much usually, but his exact words, yeah, that's fine, as long as we get someone of the same calibre. And I just sat, and obviously, I think thanks. I'd been in the World Dream Team, you know, last 4 years as prop, and 2005 I'd been best forward in the world, so best international forward. And so it was like, obviously, either me or Moz, and I'm like, obviously, all the best prop, Webkey, whoever, you know, all the props are obviously contracted.
How long did you have on your deal at this stage? Can you remember? That you couldn't have run
it wasn't end of that year, so it was at least, I think it was about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe towards even 2. And so, I didn't know Nobby was obviously leaving, and he went to Wigan and that kind of thing. And so obviously he's gone to Wigan, and then been in touch with myself, and he knew I needed a new challenge. Now, it wasn't a set, right, I need to go to Wigan thing. It was really the only way of a new challenge is to go to Wigan. Because back to your original point regarding Oz, at that point, not a chance. Because back then their salary cap was maybe, you know, $5 million, but ours was 1.85, and theirs was still only about 4 back then. So in sterling, it wasn't much more than ours.
Yeah, but was there a temptation to put the money aside? Like, if it
wouldn't have been possible. The honest bit is, because Bradford would not have released me.
Oh, right, they wanted a fee.
They're going to have, yeah.
And
it's fair enough. I mean, I'd spent, you know, nearly 10 years. I'd spent 10 years there, you know, for Bradford, and it was literally almost my testimonial. I'd felt I just need that change, and it wasn't that I need to, you know. I mean, you know, Wigan's a great club, but it wasn't a set, right, I need to go to Wigan thing. It was just, the honest bit is, Nobby went, and then no one else could really, particularly back on the point of view is why not Australia. It's like, we could get nowhere near that, because I mean, if it was a world record fee, and obviously that's nearly £500,000, which would be currently, that's over $1 million.
Yeah,
just no one's going to be able to shell out that type of money as well as your contract.
As well as your contract, yeah. I think that's an important to know. Obviously, Bradford slapped a hefty transfer fee on you. Just, it interests me, the Bradford Bulls, from a pure sporting perspective. As a kid growing up, I remember going to watch the Challenge Cup final. The Paul brothers, Bobby Goulding, St Helens played Bradford. 96.
And 7.
Nathan Graham drops those balls. 97, I actually play in the curtain raiser under 11s. St. Helens schoolboys play. We get to watch Saints against Bradford. Couple of years later, Bradford are still at the top of the table, winning multiple premierships, World Club Challenge winners, and then all of a sudden, there's not a slow decline. It's not a Manchester United. They fell off a cliff and now currently reside in the Championship. That may change in a few months' time, but you're there as a player. How does that happen? We're watching it unfold, and the players are leaving. Jamie Peacock moves to Leeds. I know Yeston Harris was there or thereabouts, but it was like the exodus. Nobby, like you say, Brian Noble.
Yeah.
What were you noticing? How does that, not the decline, but the cliff drop happen?
It's down to the management of the club, isn't it? And that is
well, is it?
If you've you've dealt obviously with deals and all the rest of it, so it's either someone, it might be the coach that might leave it to the board or whoever to manage, or sometimes the coaches do it, don't they? At points, negotiations, and so obviously somewhere has got it pretty wrong because they lost. I think we let 9 players go.
Leon Price came to St. Helens.
Yes.
Lee Gilmore came to St. Helens. Paul Anderson came to St. Helens.
They were a bit earlier than that, but the 2005 ones, we'd won the grand final in 2005. So against Leeds. So great, absolute great win. We lost it 2004 and then we won it 2005. With, I think, pretty much one of the greatest comebacks almost. I think at that point in 2005, no one had won the grand final outside of 2 that started in the playoffs.
You beat us in the semi. I can still remember. I brought my jaw in that game.
We started. Not a great one. We started at, I think it was 5th when the actual playoffs started.
Well, it was a strange year 05 because that was the year Joey came over for Warrington. Morley came for Bradford, and then they changed all that because as great as it was for the exposure, it was kind of, teams are just going to wait and then load up on Aussies. And anyway.
I think it was really hard as well. So Andy Lynch, who'd played all year, had won the World Cup Challenge at the beginning of that season, this and the rest of it. And, that was to fair next season, but he was there. And he'd been playing all year and it was harsh. But the honest bit is, you've got probably one of the best prop or joint best prop in the world. And Andy was a great player, but you've got a chance to get him. Yeah. You're doing it,
you've got to. Yeah, sport's ruthless, and there's no room for sentiment.
It's ruthless, and we won the grand final. Yeah. But it was, you've got, and he's a lovely lad. He's actually lives in Australia now.
He does, yeah. Lives down near, down the south coast.
Yeah, well, try to catch up with him. But he's a great lad. But back on your point now, it's harsh on the players in particular. Back end of the year, like Moz came to Warrington, and then Moz came to us, and then Joey came to Warrington, and it's just not fair. And also, like you said, the ones that go out in Australia, they're all going to be piling over, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it made sense if you're a team like currently now, like the Gold Coast Titans. If Tino Fasuamala-Awe was available, a Super League club would pick him up, and all of a sudden, it doesn't reflect where they've been all season. It should be rewarded for a season-long effort. But obviously, like you say, you win those games. But when does the cliff start to? When you falling off the cliff? When's the Bradford Bulls? Like it, because it's astonishing when you consider that record that they had in big games.
Yeah. I mean, I missed out on sort of most of that fall, shall I say? Because obviously, the year I left, we just won the World Cup Challenge against West
in 06.
So things are going pretty well. Yeah, okay, Nobby left, but then he's took me with him. And so 2006 there, but then obviously 2007 onwards, I think, where it's been more on that decline. The club, I mean, the years going forward on from that, obviously the club, I think it was 2012 or 11, obviously they started all this charity stuff because they were going to basically go bankrupt, weren't they? And
I can remember when Mick Potter was there and they were basically in administration, players not being paid.
All that kind of stuff, looking at going bankrupt. And then some at the top, shall we say, were a bit, they were. Some people weren't honest. Whether that's news or not.
Sorry, the power brokers, they knew that bad things were happening.
Well, you can only. There's no way they did.
Yeah.
So what I mean
they
is
just didn't communicate that and maybe brought people further down the road than they should have.
Yeah. So they raised $500,000, which is a lot of money.
From the fans.
Yeah. Not just Bradford. You've got to say the rugby league community.
The rugby league community.
But a good proportion of Bradford, which in parts is quite poor area. And I saw that, and the heartbreaking point for me was obviously that it's Bradford, even though they started hating me for quite a bit after that. It still was. I still, my favourite club was always with Bradford. 10 years at Bradford, lived near. My brothers played for Bradford, both of them.
Well, when you think about it, that crop that left in 04, 05, 06, just round the corner was Sam Burgess.
Yeah,
like just round the corner.
So when I left, because I knew Sam well enough back then, and I came and had a meal when he was leaving to Australia and this and that, so I knew him a lot better. But like you said, he literally kind of took my spot when I left.
Yeah. Well, like imagine that together with Leon and like that Jamie Peacock. That's
if they're still there,
that's a dream team. Like if that Bradford team stayed together with like Paul Deacon, Johnny Bateman, not that far away as well.
Class player. I mean, back on the
Elliot White. There's another Elliot. I forget Elliot White.
There's some good lads come out.
There's obviously the Burgess twins. Biffer. I thought Biffer was at Leeds, wasn't he? So
yeah. But sort of back on the money side, just before I forget. Obviously, so they raised £500,000, which is a lot of money, an awful lot of money, from people just giving money. So at that point, I was at Wigan and at one of the microfactories, which microfactories don't even work now, which is
not the only one.
Not my choice. Like 3.
There's a few that have fell into that trap.
And obviously you can imagine me now going, I could have just cracked on. Anyway, so I couldn't drive, so I went into Wigan once a week to see. Becky Hodgson obviously was sick of the side of me. So I'd catch a train across and then I'd catch a train back because I couldn't drive because I was on crutches. So you're partial weight bearing for a microfracture for 6 weeks. So I was on that. So I'd gone across to Wigan, got the physio, was coming back, and I met Debbie Robinson, who's a friend from Bradford. She worked at Bradford. She's not with us any longer, unfortunately. She was lovely. Massive servant to Bradford. She picked me up. I went up into the office and I was on the phones taking donations from people. And not saying about me, what broke my heart was I can remember there was a young girl that rang me. Well, a mum rang and she said, and it was she put the girl on and she was saying about donating a pocket money, and I said, I'm really not comfortable taking your pocket money to this young girl, and she kind of got a bit upset and then put mum on. I said, I'm not being funny. I said, I don't feel comfortable. And then she just kind of said, well, look, she'd be heartbroken if you didn't take it because she saved up all this time. She's done all these jobs because she loves Bradford. And I just was like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm not going to not take it. It was either 10 or 20 quid or something like that. But it was that moment that kind of epitomised for them that for me. And then later down the road, when you found that all that money did was go and pay off the directors' loans, and they knew that. They
knew what they were fundraising for.
Please. But we didn't. Obviously, we're thinking.
You're thinking it's going to save.
You're
the
thinking, and this is going to save Bradford. And then if you remember, well, you might not, but I think I kind of remember that when it got to 500, it was the old, oh, well, we need another 500. And it's like
the target moves.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about. I'm piecing it together, but obviously you had more of an inside scoop.
And I can't remember. I think it was Peter Hood. I will be honest. I can't remember, but I was obviously fuming with him. Not just for that simple, not being honest.
Yeah.
And as in business, and certainly in
if you tell the truth there, people just tell you where to go.
But that's why they didn't do it. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
But they also knew which way it was going to go, and then that stopped them. So in business, obviously, the first thing paid back are going to be directors' loans if you go in bankrupt, things like that, with that kind of money. So and they knew that, and I get they've put a lot of money in over time or whatever, but that's the risk with investments, isn't it? It's just. Yeah. That's life, and so
when you invest, you don't invest in a sports club.
No,
and we see it now with Sheffield Wednesday. We see it with Salford in rugby league. We've seen it with a number of rugby union clubs as well. But they I've seen a couple of Sheffield Wednesday fans, and this is killing people. Like, this isn't an investment or a bad investment, or I've got to sell at the price I got in. This is. I look at the sporting clubs here in Australia. This is people's life. Like, sport does so much for so many people.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off when I see players, fans mistreated by bullshit administrators. Because I think, without having a full scope on what is actually happening at Salford, I know the players are turning up. I know the fans are turning up. But it's clearly been mismanaged, and people are taken advantage of, and it's just it's not fair on the common people.
No, and that's what certainly happened at that point. And they raised, like I said, £500,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah,
and then they were going on to round 2 of it and things like that. And this wasn't rich people, as in with money just to burn. This wasn't a big investment, hedge fund managers, whatever.
Yeah. They're not going to get anything back from this donation. Yeah. It's not when we get our grants, we'll give it you back. This is thanks.
Basically, yeah. But this was the people literally giving everything.
Yeah.
The rugby community as well. It wasn't just Bradford fans, but everyone rallied round, and the vast, a lot were giving everything they could, believing that
it's going to be keep them in Super League.
Correct.
Yeah.
If the non-Bradford fans thinking strong Super League needs a strong Bradford. So they're thinking, let's keep them up, particularly obviously Leeds fans, because they love the derby.
Yeah.
And everyone else, who obviously the Bradford fans thinking this will keep Bradford up. The rugby fans in general thinking we want Bradford to stay up. Even the Leeds fans want Bradford up because those games are great.
Yeah. What do you make of the state of the game now? With obviously 12 teams, Salford on the bones of their arse, they're basically they shouldn't be in the competition next year. I don't even care what anyone says. They shouldn't be in the comp next year. So it'll be likely 3 new teams. We're currently at time of recording mid-August. Those teams have yet to be announced. A couple of championship clubs assembling some top quality players, but still a lot of unknowns. I look at the NRL model, and people say a team in Perth that they need to be signing players now. They need salary cap exemption. We look at the team coming into PNG in 2028, and people are arguing, is that enough time? Now, the Super League just have created a situation where they've got to bring in 2 or 3 new teams. From somebody that sits on this side of the world, I'm looking back, and again, without knowing all the nuanced differences, it seems strange. It seems like unplanned. I know they had a vote, and to act so quickly, it seems a bit knee-jerk.
But it's also where you're going to find your players. So you want the quality. Where is the quality going to be? Well, follows the money for one. The main bit, let's be honest. Generally speaking, sometimes people may forgo it if they've been at clubs for 8 years or whatever, and you do get some nice times like that. But generally, it will follow money, and the money's in Australia. So if you were a young player now, and someone came to you and you're their agent and whatever, or as I said to a younger player a couple of years ago that I met at one of the gyms, he was playing for Hull. We had a chat. I got to know him a little bit, and we're chatting, and I was just saying, get your games under your belt, get to Australia. You've got 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times the earning. If you look at the salary cap for the youth, so they've got a salary cap for the youth now, don't they? They get a minimum what they get paid. Yeah,
you've got minimum wage over here.
Yeah. But then on top of that, literally, you play less games. You're looked after in a better way. You earn 3, 4, 5 times more than money.
Way better resources.
It's an absolute no-brainer. It literally is. And so all kind of, unfortunately, as much as we both love the Super League in England and we want that to thrive, it's become the championship of rugby league being in the NRL being the Super League and the second division of, because it just is. If you look at, I've been watching quite a lot of the NRL games. I've been watching out here, and then, despite the weather and the torrential rain, they're still brilliant. The talent and just the skill and all the rest of it. The
whole product is just packaged better, and obviously it's part of the culture as well. Like I get that, but what is sad for me to see is, you know, we spoke with Willie at the start about those Ashes games and how competitive England were. I think back to when I sort of came onto the scene, and, you know, Wembley sold out, Old Trafford sold out. There's numbers being spun now around attendance, and everyone's trying to fluff some numbers to say how and talk about the positive, but you've still got Salford's happening, and then you look at the grand final and you think, where is everyone? Why can I see blocks of red when I'm watching the Challenge Cup final? Why can I see? I get the club Wembley, I get that and how that works and that operates, and people choose to forego taking up their club Wembley seats. Why are there blocks of red? Because that didn't happen in 2007 when St Helens played Catalan, and we played the Catalan Dragons, and obviously the new Wembley and all that. I get that, but just doesn't seem to get the same level of attention as it once did. And not only is it not progressing, but it actually seems to be going backwards. In some of my observations, not all of them, it does appear.
So those ones that we used to play in the grand finals, and I've been fortunate, I think I played in 7 in the UK. They used to be full.
Yeah,
they were the pinnacle,
hot ticket. Like,
you couldn't get the tickets.
You'd get mired for tickets, and it was genuine because it would sell out.
Yeah, it were brilliant. And even, I know Wembley's a lot bigger, but the old Wembley or the finals when they were obviously on the road, things of the Challenge Cups, we played, for instance, Bradford at Murrayfield, pretty much Hearts' ground, I think it was, which was pretty much almost sold out. Just as you said, it just seems to be thinking, why is that? Why then and not now? And what's gone wrong?
It should be getting better, not.
Yeah.
And there's a challenge there, and I don't know quite what the answers are. But again, it's not my job to know what the answers are. People are employed to do this work.
Yeah, and it's not getting peanuts to do it either, are they? So, you know what I mean? And
it seems like they've danced around from promotion, relegation, middle eights, license, criteria. It needs some sharp business people in there to actually have a plan. And okay, plans change, granted, but actually have the courage to see things through. And understand that it's not going to be an escalator up. It's going to have bumps in the road. So if you're going to do licensing with 12 teams, pick your 12 teams and stick with it, because things take time.
Yeah.
Like, they take, we're expecting a result in 2 years. And I know people have a lack of patience now, but you got to have the courage of your convictions to say, this is what we're doing, get on board. And whether that's bring the NRL in and let them run the game. I know that's one of the stipulations that they've said.
That's what I was just about to say.
It's not about money or return on investment. It's about we get to say where this game goes.
I think that with the experience of the NRL, I think that'd be the best thing we could do is let them take over and run it, because they do it. They're the best at doing it, aren't they? Because if you just look at the model, and Super League in all our times we were playing, it always kind of mirrored NRL, didn't it? So the NRL would change certain rules, we'd change.
Yeah,
we'd always kind of follow the NRL with the World Cup challenges, things like that. So we always did that, and the main bit is because obviously they've got the best models that seem to work. They seem to have more experience out there for the bigger games, with all that kind of thing, and so it makes sense, particularly when, as you said there, it isn't getting better. Tendencies are getting worse, and we need to do something. It should be getting better.
Yeah, I was hesitant at first about NRL being involved, but I think it would be for the greater good of the game over there, and it might upset a few people. But and sport and culture fascinates me. How promotion relegation is such an important part of sports culture in Europe. And I look at the women's Super League, the football, soccer, as it's known over here, around how people are reluctant to invest because of the fluctuation and the uncertainty, and how they want guaranteed to play in the women's Premier League, the women's Super League. So if you're going to invest in an Arsenal in the women's Super League, they don't want this possibility. The investors don't want, well, if we get relegated, what happens? Oh, we lose all our TV rights deal. And I understand how it took a long time for the Super League to even adopt and accept the playoffs, because we were always first past the post growing up. I was there at St Helens when they won the league at their ground. I think we beat Warrington for first past the post in '96 from memory. And St Helens drew with London Broncos. Apollo Perellini scored. I was listening to it on the radio. It's like, yes, we got a point. We didn't lose. And then we win at Warrington. We first past the post. Now that, like, you get the minor Premiership now or the League Leaders Shield. It's nothing.
And then '97, Bradford. They're the only team that they didn't lose, did they? '97 when Bradford won the Super League.
Yeah, did they go
first past the post?
Yeah,
I don't think they lost the last game, but they'd already won it in Paris.
And then Wigan beat them in the.
But that was in the Shield or whatever it was.
Well, no, that was the first ever grand final. Oh, Wigan beat Leeds in the first grand final.
Yeah, 1998 was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they used to have a different competition.
Yeah. '97, they didn't have the playoffs in the grand final, I don't think.
Yeah, but that's part of our sporting culture, and it's difficult to accept change and things like no promotion and relegation. And I get that it's, look, I've got very strong family links. Half my family's from Cumbria, and they want a possibility that Wakington Town, one of the first teams in Super League, to be at least afforded an opportunity to get there. And with a set 12 teams or a set 14 teams, maybe that doesn't happen, but that doesn't mean the door is closed forever. It's about expansion later down the track, but these things have got to be thoroughly thought through.
I suppose it's a hard one because you're looking at that and saying, right, we've shut the door, we're going to keep these 12 or 14 teams, whatever it is. And then, as you've touched on there, you're removing all the excitement, you're removing relegation. Obviously, you're going to get people who win it, but you're not going to, the bottom end for the last 10 games, like we've seen in the past, literally just don't matter.
Yeah.
And as much as we want to say we're professionals and the rest of it, they didn't. And so even though you're going to go out there and do your best ever, it just, all that bottom end of it loses so much, the competition. And as you said, I touched on there, teams coming up. But then on the flip side of the coin, rather than having the up, down, up, down, up, down. So like Salford have done it a little bit. You've got a couple of teams that have kind of gone up, blown it all to try and stay in Super League, come back down that, and the next season on two after, and blown it and spent all the money, all the up, down. So it is...
Yeah, well, you're never going to please everyone. There's no perfect solution, but I think long-term intelligent strategy is the way to go. Speaking of mismatched games, I want to bring up a couple that I had against you. So I think 2002, I would have been 16, 17 maybe. We're playing on St Helens under 21s, and we on a Tuesday. We
2003.
Played 2003 was it? Yeah. So we played Bradford at home, and the team sheet gets pinned on the wall. And we used to lads would always to be in the under 21s. There was a rule you could play 3 players over the age of 21, and I'm 17 at the time, so I was one of the youngest, and there was lads like Jamie Langley in Bradford at the time. So they had some big boys and some guns around the ages of 19, 20 that couldn't quite make first team, but still the best in the business when it comes to that age group. But because you could have 3 overage players, often lads would go to the team sheet pinned on the wall and be like, "Oh, who's this L Price that's playing?" Who, and always name the top players that played in the first grade for the opposition. And someone's gone, "Oh, Stuart Fielden, 29. And we've just gone, good one. No, Stuart Fielden's playing. He's back. He's making his return from injury. We were like, what the to Tuesday at Nosey Road. There's like, it's basically families in there. And we're like, Fielden's playing. And at the time, you were the best front rowers in the country, arguably the world. And we're just going, oh my God, what is happening? And, I've got these aspirations. Yeah, I'm going to like build into first grade. I'm stick thin at 17. You're, a big dude like you are, just thinking, what on earth is going on here? This is bad. Do you remember that game? Could you? I know obviously it all blends into one, but surely you'd remember playing for the 21s on your return.
Yeah, I do, because particularly that year too. I was coming back from my knee injury and the rest of it. I mean, we went on a won the grand final that year, so I certainly remember that. But that was that road back, just at the back end of the season.
I think you only played 20 minutes, thankfully. So,
and it was, I can remember it was quite hot. It was at Knowsley Road, wasn't it? And so we've spoken about it since, and I do then it did kind of come back to it.
There's another one that that is fresh in the memory, arguably for all the wrong reasons. So for our Australian viewers or listeners that don't know, in England, the Easter schedule is wrong. And it's very compact. So you play 3 games in 7 days. So you play Good Friday. St. Helens would always play Wigan Warriors on Good Friday, followed by a game on Easter Monday. So that's 2 or 3 days after, depends on how you look at it. Good Friday, rest on Easter Saturday, captains run Easter Sunday, play a game on Easter Monday. Then they would do a rest on the Tuesday, Wednesday a light run, Thursday a captain's run, play again on the Friday. So 3 games in 8 days. So 2004, St. Helens play the game against Wigan on the Good Friday, get the win. And what the coach Ian Millwood did next was to basically sacrifice the game on Easter Monday. So he was happy to forego the 2 points on Easter Monday, and then by playing the bomb squad, by playing some players that should never have ever in their whole life play first grade, with the view of then playing the first team, which played the game on Good Friday the following Friday. So they're on the regular schedule, obviously looking to gain a competitive advantage by foregoing the 2 points, but we'd be fresher later down the track. We go up to Bradford Bulls, and this is in the days before squads had to be named. So now there is I think 48 hours before the game or 72 hours before the game, you have to submit a squad to the governing body, and that is pretty much watertight if the 21 players before these days. So we turn up to captain's run on the Sunday, and we're informed we're playing, and this is the team. I'd played maybe 3 first grade games at the time. There was there was maybe 4 or 5 lads on debut as well. It was everybody else that hadn't played on Good Friday was playing, and we were absolutely no hope. And Bradford had a beyond stacked team at the time. I think it was yourself, Joe Vagana in the front row, Jamie Peacock, Paul Anderson. You had the wingers Vinacolo and
Tavita
Vicona, that's right. Like the biggest team. We get up there, pull off the bus, and I don't think any of the regular first team players came. So we pull off the bus, and we can see you guys reacting to the team that's coming off the bus, and you guys were getting.
Was Stankovic playing as well?
He was.
He was. I can remember he was a young lad, and literally we're seeing all you young lads get off the bus, and we're thinking, my first thought was, is this the academy team before the game? Literally, because the first few were all literally almost wet behind the ears.
Yeah, we were kids.
Yeah, in the brand kind of almost new tracksuit. I think that was white and red.
I can remember you guys saying like,
they're
taking the piss. They're taking the piss, and we were like, it's not our fault. I remember one scrum. They were like, lads, we got to give it to these. Like we're like, we don't. It's not our fault. Like and then John Wilkin got sin-binned for a high shot. Gleeson actually scored the first try.
I thought that's where Long English.
Yeah,
got.
They did. Yes, we won't go too far into that. But they maybe had a thought about how this could be manipulated. Which I mean, you can understand, because St Helens were no chance of winning, and our good friends at Bookmakers and Ladbrokes certainly didn't know that this was happening. But Long Eaton Lease did, and yeah, they made the most of it. But unfortunately, handed some lengthy bans. But yeah, that was a horrible feeling. Can you remember that game and what you were feeling coming up against this team of kids?
I think, as you touched on there, I think we felt it was disrespectful. We thought it was, because he used to love playing games with Millward. He did, and obviously Saints are. I mean, at that time of Bradford, certainly
we were two big rivals. We played a lot of big games against each other.
Massively so, but we literally hadn't, and I have never beat grand final at Wigan, but at Bradford in all the finals. So I played in a final, literally 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. Either World Cup Challenge, Grand Final, or Challenge Cup, and sometimes all three, and all that time, and then we could never beat Saints in a final.
Oh yes, there's some big.
And I went back to 97 and 98.
Yeah, 97, 98. Yeah,
and then
the joint voluntary tackle. That comeback. Yes. Oh, I'm bringing back bad memories for me. Great as a Saints fan, but yeah, I forgot about that.
Bradford couldn't beat Saints, and I don't think they'd beaten Saints in a final in the modern era.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. I did.
I think
I did at Wigan. We beat the 2010.
Yeah,
which was great, but obviously it wasn't the monkey that was on Bradford's back, which was Saints. And I don't. So in my 10 years there, we didn't beat them in a final. And
then you get this team of kids come up.
Yeah, and he used to love playing. I mean, I can remember one part of it with Millward. We went to Saints, and so we're at Saints' ground. I think it was Knowsley Road, and so he's painted our changing room pink.
Yep.
And I think then the next year or whatever, he painted it brown. And so obviously, the science behind colours and things like that. So red increases the heart rate, increases testosterone if you look at the studies, things like that. So he must have seen all that kind of stuff, and he was trying to just get us, dull us all down. But it's kind of the epitome of kind of what he used to like to do was playing games, wasn't he?
I think not the opposition. He'd water the dressing rooms. He'd remove all the toilet rolls, so you had to go and ask.
It was annoying.
Yeah, turn if it was hot, put the heater on. If it was cold, put the aircon. Well, it didn't have aircon, but yeah, he tried to make life difficult for the opposition. But God, that was a frightening time for a kid. I think I could have handled it if, like, I was the only one, and like you just get in a run and you surround yourself with good players, because we had some good players as well. But when it's
an hard one for you young lads, because like you said, if it's almost A team-ish, and you're A team and you're playing, you're getting some experienced players. And you're bullying the young guys. You're like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Or, as you said,
for an Easter Monday, if like 2 or 3 of us had
let's put 5, 6, 7, give them all a good go. Okay, we might not win, but it's going to be at least competitive. But to just
take the piss,
gut the team, and I'm pretty sure they certainly tried, or some RFL and all that tried, and certainly did with Millward. They ever did do something.
I think they were trying, but you know what? Saints did it. We did it again.
Yeah,
we did it again.
Yeah,
and I played in that one as well. I think I don't know if that was out 05 or 06.
They did not find Saints.
I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what happened.
It was something like that, and everyone was going mad.
Well, mate, it's. I don't know. Do you have an obligation to play your best team? Because I know here in the NRL, there's a couple of games on the radar that. So Canberra, for instance, look like they're going to finish top. They've earned the right to rest at the end of the season. So it is an interesting thought experiment. Are you obligated to play your best team? Like, is it whose business? I mean, for integrity of competition, you should, especially in the middle of the season. But it's if a team strategizes to almost,
Is it in the NRL, or certainly I don't know with the Super League either? Is it in the bylaws certainly somewhere of how much you can drop a team and
I know
the conditions?
I know there are rules around squad members so you've got to name a top 30 here, and then there is a certain date where you can add players to that, but they're stringent on who can and can't play. and you've got to use players within that top squad. You can't just pull people out of the street.
Which I think after the Millward 1 or 2, I think they did have change the rules. Or they did.
Well, what they did was they made it mandatory to announce a 19-man squad that you had to pick from, unless there was significant injuries.
So you couldn't just.
Yeah, well, it affects the sports wagering
market. You couldn't just switch it 3-4 days before.
Without a legitimate reason. Stu, we understand you're here on holiday, although it's not particularly holiday weather, but we are conscious of time. We do 4 questions for each and every guest. First off, the dream spine, so 1679 that you would like to have played with or did play with, so no particular.
Yeah, I had a thought about it after you tipped me up on it, which was good because otherwise I'd have been a bit caught out. So I was thinking, right, I'm going to be a bit more specific and can I have played with or against rather than just saying you're on the forever team. So I was thinking Inglis fullback, Danny Brough 6, Trent Barrett 7, and Cameron Smith 9.
Not a bad little side. Danny Brough in the mix.
Yeah, I still kind of, I don't play, but I'm involved with a charity team called Life for a Kid.
Oh,
it's basically like Masters.
Dean Hoggard, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great lads. And they raise mass amount of money for charities for each, obviously one child each game. Sometimes they're providing loads for him. For him from there. And he's actually on there.
Yeah. Danny Brough.
He's still there, and honest, I said to him when he was playing, so I kind of am still involved now, and I did play in that where it's kind of touch-ish, kind of not touch, and he's sort of involved that. But I've been, when I've played with him sort of last year on that, and now I just kind of remember involved. He could still play. I said this to him. Lee Gilmore's still there. Gaz Ellis. Some of these lads are there. Some of the Keith Senior when he's not at Bradford. And some of these, like I said to Keith, so you could still do it. I said it to Bruffin. I said Bruffy because he's one of the best halves.
Well, with 2 new teams coming in, mate, they might need to go to them.
He's got a new hip, but I said Bruffy said you're doing this here, which can turn into almost full contact. I said you could still do it, mate.
I've been asked about playing in a testimonial game for Bryn Hargreaves when I'm back, and sadly passed away not long ago. But unless it's touch, no way. I just can't do it. There has to be touch. I can't be getting anywhere near contact. I'll be no. And
it says touch, but it ends up not touch.
Yeah. Well, if I'll just walk off. If rugby league didn't exist, what would you have done? I know you were a late starter.
Yeah. So I prefer. I always preferred playing football as a kid. So I played at some points for probably 5 different teams, either football or rugby. Cricket, I used to love sport, but my kind of love as a youngster was football. I played it from 8. I didn't play rugby properly till... Played a tiny bit at school, which we didn't really know what we were doing. Properly going up until Lynmouth when I was 15, really.
Yeah, wow.
So soccer was always sort of my love to play. And not rugby. Rugby just fell into that. Both my brothers played. I kind of followed my middle brother up to Lingworth and just kind of ended up playing for their under 18s and under 15s.
Yeah, wow. So if the rugby didn't work out, what do you end up doing?
Well, I was in education. I did well on my GCSEs. I was doing my A-levels. Yeah, I know, long time ago.
Mate, I've not thought about my GCSEs in a long time, or A-levels for that matter. But anyway, go.
So I was going on the pathway of when I got on uni, got my degree. I got my kind of aim was PE teacher, and I loved it. And I started working in secondary education now, and a few years back I used to kind of teach kind of PE at the alternate provision in Bradford. So used to, loved PE, I'll be honest, as being at school, but then I was like, I'd really love to teach PE. We had some great ones at my school in Halifax, called High, so that was what I wanted to be.
Yeah, nice.
And I was kind of on that way, so I met with Matty Elliott and a few of the lads that I've sort of played with at Bradford and things like that, so we're catching up on all these old tales, because he was my first head coach was Matty Elliott. So I can remember the tales from Brian Noble.
Have you seen them since you've been?
Yeah,
on?
I've been in. I thought he's great, and we were catching up on all his old tales. And so Brian Noble was my first kind of assistant academy coach, and Matty Elliott was head coach. And so Nobby's brought him to watch me playing, and he's been sort of selling me a little bit, saying, "Oh, he's really good." And I'd not signed for Bradford at that point, and he's come to watch me with Matty Elliott, and I think he came to Thrum Hall or something like that in Halifax. They're all ground, and so I'm playing there. But this was the 5th game in a week. I'd played a final for school, two finals for school. One for Illingworth, 2 football team finals, this and that. The 5th game. So literally, he's come to watch me.
And you spent,
awful, absolutely awful. And so literally, Matty, this is the tale from Nobby. Obviously, when we were at Bradford, and Matty's just like, not a chance. Awful. Literally, almost, ball was hitting me in the face, and I looked absolutely shocking. But then I think Nobby's kind of worked on Matty a bit more, and then he's come back to watch, and then found out and went like, oh well, it was his 5th game. In a week. And so, came then, and then I ended up training at Bradford, and then signed at 17.
Wow. The most interesting person you've met on this journey so far?
Does it have to be rugby?
No, it can be anyone you want, mate.
Yeah. So it's a friend of my brother's, actually. He's actually an author at the minute. He's got a book out. It's called Alan Langham. And his story, his book's amazing, to be fair with you. He's a born-again Christian, but his book is unbelievable. Basically, his journey from, he's been in and out of prison. He found his mother dead when he was young. He ended up in organised crime. He ended up in organised, drugs. And it's the full book of that. And now he's literally, and his story in there, and I've met him a few times. He actually baptised me last year.
Oh,
he's now
okay.
a pastor. And he's involved, and he's a born-again Christian and that, and he's a top man. He's a good friend of my brother's. And his story in there, and so it kind of, with all that other stuff in his book, and he's a brilliant book, he then was going to take his own life in the prison cell because he was back in prison again for, he'd done various things, lots of, obviously dodgy stuff and racketeering, all kinds of stuff. And he literally was going to take his own life, and then he kind of said, and it's in the book obviously as well, but he's told me that story as well, and that he was going to take his own life, and so he literally said, God, if you don't want me to take my own life, or show me a white dove, or along those lines. And he said he could see on the windowsill of his cell, literally, and there were always pigeons on there, but there was never white ones. And literally, he said on that day where he was going to do that, there was a white dove.
Wow.
And there's some more amazing stories in there. But his stories are amazing. I mean, he speaks now a lot. He's a pastor. He does a lot of, free work for people as well. He's great. But his stories and his life, and if you just even read the synopsis of his book, that'd be the most interesting person.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Organised crime, some just, there's all sorts in that. Prostitution, drugs, all the stuff he got into. He went to London, all that. The story is amazing.
Just finally, a sliding doors moment that you think about.
Sliding doors would be, it'd be that choice when Matt Elliott sort of offered to, because before Matt Elliott then came to me, I said before about that tale where he's and Nobby and the rest of it, he'd come and speaking to me, and I thought he didn't. I thought I'm not signing. I don't want to sign. Because I thought he was trying to get me on what the point, we used to call it it was called SLT, Super League trainee, I think it was. And they basically just were paid almost we used to call it slave labour trade or something like that, because the young lads would just...
an SLT, I want to be an SLT.
Would teach basically all the school stuff, and then not really they'd still be playing a bit academy, but they were in schools all day.
Just for our Aussie listeners, SLT was like, a program that the Super League teams would have, where they would then basically, you'd be part-time you'd be expected to train with the first team squad and then fill a load of duties for the club on next to nothing, right?
Basically, yeah, and obviously you are long. My brother was one for a bit. You are long days, so you're in schools teaching kids all day, doing all the drills, the rest of it. Then you stay on for the night stat stuff and training probably with all the academy, everyone that wasn't SLT, and then on top of that, I suppose they were trying to fix in doing all the weights, all the fitness, all the rest of it. So you'd be literally, my brother used to leave early, and they're getting back at sometimes 8, 9, 10, and getting paid.
Not much.
That's the term.
Survival. And that's the sliding doors moment. Like if I'd made that other choice, which would have just been going no again. Yeah.
I'm going to carry on my education pathway and go to uni and become a PE teacher. That would have been the entire opposite direction.
It's interesting how we have those moments in our life. Stu, I really appreciate you coming on. I love the story. Obviously one of the best front rowers that England, Great Britain have ever produced. That particular moment with Willie, it was great to see grown men deal with that. 2 young bulls at it going at the time. The backstory of you is quite incredible. And yeah, I and we and our listeners really appreciate you giving me time and coming on here. It's been very special to talk and break some bread with yourself and Willie.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Thanks for having me on. The main bit, like you said, it was really good because that's the first time I've seen Willie since 2006. So I think you were a bit tired. You were like, how was this going to go? So that bit,
it was. I was near.
You looked nervous. Were you actually nervous?
Mate, of course I was.
Really?
Well, so when you hit me up about coming on, like I want to set the record straight. I was like, okay, and then I thought, I know what'll happen. You'll say something, then Willie will react, and it'll be a back and forth. And it's, you know what? Let's just put it to him. Get you in the same room at the same time, and it worked. And I think it speaks volumes about not just our sport, but that gladiatorial sport in nature. You see boxers often and MMA fighters after a fight, they shake each other's hand because everyone's on the same story. Everyone's connected to a club or a country or a state, and it's all in. And then after it, it's gone. It's over. And
it was funny seeing you. I thought he actually looks nervous.
Oh, I was. Well, don't forget, mate. I'm in the middle. Like I'm in the crossfires. If someone goes to go, I'll probably be knocked out from both sides, and my skull is beyond delicate. So yes, I survived that one. I can say I survived it. But again, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your holiday over here, mate.
Yeah,
and hopefully I'll see you at the Ashes later in the year.
Definitely.
Brilliant.
All right. Thank you.